Alex is a 43-year-old woman who has requested marriage counseling. Her husband is frequently away from work, so all of the household responsibilities fall on her. Alex feels as though her husband does not listen to her, so she has not expressed her frustration with him. This is the second session with the clinician, Mary. Mary hopes to get more information about Alex's upbringing and developmental history.
So last time we talked about how you have been feeling when your husband is gone for work. You said you were feeling frustrated because he is never home. You mentioned feeling like he doesn't listen to you, which is why you haven't brought the frustration up. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and I get upset because of all the responsibilities at home that fall on me. I have to do the cleaning, the cooking, and take care of the kids because he is literally never home. It's just so tiring.
Right. I remember discussing your feelings around this. Has anything changed since we talked last?
Not really. He's still gone for work a lot. I still haven't told him how I feel though.
Do you think you'll tell him eventually?
I don't know. I just get worried he's gonna pull away from me if I complain. I get that he has to work, but I'm just tired, you know?
Yeah, that is definitely understandable. I was wondering if you would want to talk more about your fear of him pulling away. What is making you feel this way?
I guess I just don't want to be alone, and I worry that I should be able to handle all of this on my own, but bringing it up, I could lose him.
That sounds like a really challenging fear to deal with.
Yeah, it is. I just feel like I've never had a lot of support or help, so I'm trying to appreciate what he does, like working so much for the family.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the feeling of not having a lot of support? When did that start?
Since I was little, I guess.
Do you want to talk about that a little more?
You mean about when I was a kid? Yeah, we can. I'm just not sure how much of that impacting, like, what's going on now.
Well, in my work as a social worker, I focus on how the challenges my clients experience may relate back to how they felt in their family and how that could be impacting them now. So feeling unsure if there's a connection between the two is normal. But if it is something you want to explore, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, that's fine with me. You always focus on stuff like that?
Mostly, yeah. I work from a framework called attachment theory. So basically, that just means that I'm curious about the way your past relationships were carried out to see if that is impacting the challenges you're experiencing in your marriage now. One technique of attachment theory is to ask some questions about your experiences.
I don't know how much it will help, but I'm definitely open to seeing if it does.
Okay, great. Do you want to start off by just telling me a little bit more about your family?
Sure. So I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I have 2 younger sisters and 2 younger brothers. My dad worked as a farmer, and my mom had to work too, but she also took care of us.
Was your dad involved in taking care of you and your siblings?
As much as he could, but he was away for work all the time. She really didn't have much help, my mom, so besides me, of course.
You helped your mom out a lot?
A lot is an understatement. Sometimes I felt like I was the living nanny.
What was that like for you?
I don't know. I guess I just always felt like I had to take care of them instead of just like being a kid myself. Like it was a lot of responsibility and I was pretty young.
Right. That sounds like it was a lot for you to deal with at that age.
Yeah, it was. And my brother drove me crazy.
What do you mean by that?
My one brother, John, just never stopped picking on me. He was always making fun of me, and it was so frustrating because I was trying to take care of him.
It sounds like that was really hurtful.
Yeah, it was.
Did he ever get in trouble for it?
Of course not. He was one of my parents' little babies.
Little babies?
Yeah, they thought he was the most precious thing, you know?
Okay, so in their eyes, he could do no wrong.
Exactly. It was just upsetting because the constant picking on me was too much and they never did anything about it.
When he made you upset, were your parents usually away at work?
Either that or they were just too tired to deal with it. They didn't see it as a big deal, I guess.
So this does bring up one concept of the style I was telling you a little bit about.
Was it attachment theory?
Yeah. So one concept of attachment theory is known as the attachment behavioral system, or the ABS. Basically, this comes into play when a child needs something and their caregiver is either nearby and responds to that need, or they're not around and not responsive to the need.
Okay, I get that. But what does that have to do with me now?
Well, when a caregiver isn't around to respond to those needs, a child in your situation may become anxious, and that will most likely continue until those needs are met.
So you're saying maybe I never really felt like they were there for me, and that's why I get anxious or upset now?
It could be, sure. Did you have anyone else to talk to or go to?
No, I really didn't have many friends at school.
Why is that?
I never felt like I fit in. Plus, I was super shy.
Do you think that had anything to do with what was going on at home?
I mean, I definitely didn't feel too great about myself, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Why didn't you feel great about yourself?
I don't know, maybe it had to do with my brother constantly picking on me, but also I guess I just felt like I could never do enough.
Do enough for who?
For anyone, I tried to be a good sister by watching my younger brothers and sisters, but I never felt like it was enough. My parents still didn't seem to have enough time for me, no matter what I did.
Would it be correct to say that you didn't feel appreciated by them?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really feel anything from them. I never got to talk to them, spend time with them, or do anything fun. They were just so busy with that, like everything else that was going on.
So another key concept of attachment theory is attachment style. Based on everything we've talked about, it sounds to me like the attachment style you developed between you and your parents is an anxious, ambivalent style.
What does that mean?
It means that you never quite felt securely attached to either your mom or your dad because they were overworked and unavailable so often. And it sounds like this has impacted how you view yourself and others.
That does kind of make sense. I never really felt like my parents were there for me.
Right. It sounds like they were not a secure base for you, and that must have been really challenging.
It definitely was. I just never really reflected so much on it.
Over time, the therapist continued to talk through Alex's concerns and experiences. She did this while building rapport and trust. As the sessions went on, the therapist employed another key technique in attachment theory. This technique consists of the therapist becoming a secure base for the client, so that the client can work from there towards a health attachment style in other relationships.